Let's get one thing straight from the start. Gaslighting is not just a buzzword. It's a serious form of emotional abuse that can leave even the strongest minds questioning their reality. Unfortunately, the term has been misused frequently in pop culture and social media, often being applied to simple disagreements or minor dishonesty. This misuse can undermine the real harm that gaslighting causes. As a psychologist who believes in tough love and compassionate truth-telling, I'm here to clarify what gaslighting truly is from a mental health perspective. No sugarcoating, no fluff. Welcome back to Savvy Psychologist. I'm your host, Dr. Monica Johnson. Every week on this show, I'll help you face life's challenges with evidence-based approaches, a sympathetic ear, and zero judgment. So let's talk about what exactly is gaslighting. A well-known historical example of gaslighting is from the 1944 film Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into doubting her perceptions. In more recent pop culture, the TV series The Handmaid's Tale shows examples of gaslighting by the ruling regime, making individuals question their memories and perceptions. Such examples help highlight how gaslighting operates in various settings. Gaslighting is a psychological manipulation tactic where a person or group makes someone question their own memories, perceptions, or sanity. It's insidious, often subtle, and profoundly damaging. The term comes from the 1944 film Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into believing that she's losing her mind. You might think, surely I'd know if someone was gaslighting me. Think again. Gaslighting thrives in the shadows of our self-doubt and trust in others. Here are some key components of gaslighting. Each component of gaslighting serves a unique purpose in manipulation. The first is denial and contradiction. This is where they flatly refuse facts to make you question reality. An example of this is insisting an argument never happened, despite clear evidence. The next one is trivializing feelings. So this is belittling your emotions to undermine your self-worth. An example could be laughing at your distress and calling it overreacting. The next technique is withholding information. So this is where they refuse to engage, leaving you in confusion. An example of this may be saying something like, "I don't have to explain," when pressed for more clarity. The next is diverting and distracting. So this is where the topic is changed to avoid accountability. An example may be responding to concerns with unrelated accusations. The next strategy is blame shifting. So this is where they make you feel responsible for their actions. For example, claiming you're quote unquote paranoid when confronted about deceit. Hopefully, these definitions help to clarify how gaslighting tactics work, making them easier to recognize. Now, let's talk about the differences between gaslighting versus regular lying. Gaslighting is more than just lying. While lying involves telling an untruth, gaslighting is a sustained pattern of manipulation aimed at making someone else question their reality. Regular lies might be one-off deceptions, but gaslighting is systematic and often includes denying past events, trivializing feelings, and manipulating perceptions to control another person. For example, a lie might be saying, "I didn't take your keys," when they actually did. Gaslighting, on the other hand, would involve repeatedly telling you that you always misplace your keys, even when you're sure where you left them, making you doubt your very own memory. Now, let's take a look at some of these key components of gaslighting with examples. Number one is denial and contradiction. Here are some examples of what it may look like. You may hear them say things like, "That never happened," "You're imagining things," or imagine confronting your partner about hurtful words that they said, and they respond with, "I never said that. You're being overly sensitive." Over time, this repeated denial can make you question your memory and judgment. Number two is trivializing your feelings. Here are some examples of what it could look like. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I don't have to explain myself." These are all examples of stonewalling and refusing to engage in discussions, which can leave you feeling isolated and confused. Number four is diverting and distracting. Here's what it may look like. "Why are you bringing this up now? Let's talk about how you always mess things up." Suddenly, the issue you raised gets flipped back onto you, which is a classic gaslighting move. Number five is blame shifting. So here's what it may look like. "If you weren't so paranoid, this wouldn't be an issue." Gaslighters rarely take responsibility. Instead, they project their faults onto you. So let's talk through some real life examples of gaslighting in relationships. Let's say you find text from someone on your partner's phone. When confronted, they say, "You're just jealous and seeing things that aren't there." At work, your boss may criticize you harshly in a meeting, but later when you bring it up, they reply, "I was just giving constructive feedback. You're too sensitive." In families, your parent may deny hurtful comments made in the past, saying things like, "I never said that. You're always exaggerating." So let's spend a moment talking about why people gaslight. Let's be clear. Gaslighting is about control and power. Some gaslighters do it knowingly, while others are so entrenched in their toxic patterns that they may not even realize it. But let's not get it twisted. Ignorance doesn't excuse abuse. Here are some of the common motives. First is control. Keeping you disoriented gives them power. Two is avoiding accountability. It's easier to blame you than face their own flaws. Three is insecurity. Their self-esteem may be so fragile that they need to diminish yours to feel better. Gaslighting can lead to anxiety, depression, and even PTSD. It erodes your self-confidence, making you doubt your own perceptions and memories. Here are some signs that you might be experiencing gaslighting. Constantly second guessing yourself, feeling confused or crazy, apologizing excessively, struggling with decision making, and finally, feeling isolated or dependent on the gaslighter. So let's talk a little bit about how to deal with gaslighting. The first step is to recognize the signs. Awareness is always the first line of defense. Two, document your interactions. Keep records of conversations to validate your experiences. Three, set boundaries. Be firm in what behavior you will not tolerate. Next is to seek support. Talk to trusted friends, family, or a mental health professional. And then lastly, prioritize self-care. Rebuilding your self-trust takes time and compassion. What is a mental health concept or term that you think has lost its meaning? Let me know. You can contact me via Instagram at KindMindPsych or via my email at psychologist@quickanddirtytips.com. The Savvy Psychologist is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. It's audio engineered by Steve Rickyberg, with script editing by Brandon Getchis. Our podcast and advertising operations specialist is Morgan Christensen. Our digital operations specialist is Holly Hutchings. And our marketing and publicity associate is Davina Tomlin. Nathaniel Hoops is our marketing contractor. Follow Savvy Psychologist on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's it for this episode of Savvy Psychologist. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.